Hello there. Tonight's shave is going to be with my Simpson Duke 2 in best. I'm going to go ahead and sit this over here in the water because tonight's shave is also a test. It's a test of a razor that I honed on this. This is a piece of slate as far as I can determine. It was given to me by a good friend of mine. He's an elderly gentleman. He's 91 or 92 this month. I can't remember which. But he told me that this was a black Arkansas. And it looked like a black Arkansas. It's got a good heft to it. It was full of oil. And so it was jet black. I mean, blacker. This is a blackish stone now, but it was even blacker than this. And I took it home, and it's a nice, smooth, slick, just glassy hone. And I thought, well, the first thing I did was I need to get this oil off of here, because a lot of times stones are loaded up with oil and they can look a whole lot different if they've got 20 years of oil on them than they do when they're clean. So I put it in some simple green for 3 or 4 days and took all of the oil that I could get out of it. Then I soaked it for probably another week after I checked it the first time, and just made sure that all the oil was gone out of it, and I ended up with that stone. And the first thing I did was start to lap it. When I lapped it, I realized that it wasn't an Arkansas, because it lapped like a water stone. It lapped pretty fast and relatively easy. But it doesn't soak up water, so I knew it wasn't technically a water stone, although some of the finer water stones are splash and go, so they don't necessarily need to be soaked. So that's not really a hard and fast rule either. So, but I talked with a friend of mine that I know that has owned quite a few different types of hones and is familiar with the different types, and he and I came to a conclusion that basically this was a piece of slate. And I've honed on it I've honed on it several times, not just a couple of times. But I always used a slurry. The problem with it is it laps really easy, but trying to raise a slurry with a stone of any kind on this stone is an exercise in futility. It's not going to happen. A piece of steel or anything, it's not going to bring up a slurry. The only thing that ever brings a slurry up on this is a diamond card, a DMT. That's it. Nothing else will make this slurry. So I've tried this stone with slurry after slurry, and I've done it as many different ways as I can think of. And I've got some good shaves off of it, but they weren't ever as good as anything else that I've got, pretty much, that I consider true finishers. Things like my Cotty, my Escher, my Shobu, the lapping film, and now the black arc that I have even gives a better shave than I've gotten off of this stone in the time that I've had it. So one of the things that I have never tried with it is just to come off a really nice edge and go on to that with just plain water. And so that's what I did earlier today, and we're going to test it. I put it on this razor, my 51, the Victor, and it previously had a Shobu edge. You see it's marked slate. It previously had a Shobu edge on it, and I took that edge to this razor, and I know what this, or I took that edge, the edge of this razor to that stone, and I know this razor really well. And I know the edge I had on it really well. So I'll know if that degrades it. I'll know if the edge is not up to par with this razor. And so, that to me is the best way to do it. You choose something you know. You need a baseline somehow. And so this is my baseline. And tonight's soap, we're going to be using Mason Boutique's Evelyn. Now this is a sample. It is chocolate and orange, and I forget what the other, chocolate, orange, and let's see, I know that I've got, let me pull it up, white musk, and it smells wonderful. So we're going to use this to shave with, and I'm going to go ahead and move down. And I've chosen my, alright, got my armpit deodorant. Anyway, I've chosen the brush, trying to get it smaller to fit into these little containers. Because that's one of the things that, most of the time, the best thing to do is pull a bit of soap out of the container and put it in like the scuttle or the bowl or whatever it is that you're gonna use, because it's hard to load a brush on these containers. But if you get a small enough one, sometimes it's not that difficult. And that was a little soupy, so I'm going to get rid of some of it and start lathering here till it starts looking creamy. And I think that right there is probably it. If not, I don't have a problem going back to the container and getting some more. But I'm just trying this edge because I really think that you need to test, especially natural stones. It's kind of like everything else in shaving for me. I'm not the kind of guy that, quits really easily on things. I like to give them a really nice, solid shot at being what they're supposed to be. Now, I don't know what that's supposed to be. I got it from an elderly friend of mine. I'm sure, if I remember right, he said he bought it at an auction because he wanted something really fine for his tools, and that was the finest thing, the finest stone that had there. So I don't believe it was marketed as a razor home. So it just may not match up. It just may not measure up, no matter what I do with it. But it's glassy. It's got a nice ring to the tap tone on it. It's dense. I believe it is Slate, and I know that there are some really high quality hones out there that are basically a type of Slate. And so, for me at least, it's worth it to keep trying. Besides, it's pretty darn fun to play around with razors and stones, that kind of thing. And this stuff smells lovely. And so, why not? I've got about 2 days growth, so that should be a good test. Let's get this show on the road. That's beautiful. Very sharp. Very smooth. That's lovely. Absolutely beautiful. So, seems to me like this is a pure finisher. You can't treat it. That's lovely. You can't treat it like a Janette or a conical. Let me. Where you might generate. Oh man, that's beautiful. You might generate the hollows right there. Are really hard to get. Smooth, that's BBS. You can't treat it like a stone that you'd come off like a bevel setter or a 3K stone and use slurry and progressively dilute that slurry until you come up to finish. Because I've done that. I've done the dilutions, run up to a misty slurry and then finished on that. I've done the dilutions and ran up to plain water and finished on the plain water, and it just, there's not enough there in the stone to make a good intermediate hone. A good intermediate to finish hone like a conical or like the Shobu. Some of the J-Nats can be, wow. It's just not there. But it's looking like as a pure finisher. I think if I came straight off an 8K stone, that'll be my next shot with that. On the plain water. And polish the bevel to the point it is now. That's a fantastic edge. And that's its use, which kind of puts me in mind of my Escher, because that's pretty much the deal with it. I know that the Eschers usually came with a slurry stone. Mine, I only got the main stone because the box was gone, and you guys watch me, you know how I got that and all of that. And I've been using it with slurry and getting good edges, but I think I'm going to try it with straight water, come off of an 8K and try it that way. Because some guys do that. I'm also thinking about that with the conical. As well, but maybe coming off the 8K, going to clean water, and then maybe some liquid soap or a bit of mineral oil to finish on the conical. I've used a bit of mineral oil on my cotty. After the after the dilution process, after the Dillicott method, and finished on mineral oil, and it got a wonderful shave that way. Just all I'm really doing is just playing around and seeing what. That's a wonderful shade. Seeing what the different hones that I have will do under different circumstances. I mean, I don't hone for others. I hone for myself. And if I was just after a really nice keen edge, I would have never left the lapping film, because that's bar none of all of the finishers, methods, whatever you want, that I have used to put an edge on a straight razor. There is nothing that I have used that's as keen, as wicked sharp as the lapping film. That's just my experience. Others may differ. And if that's all I wanted, then I'd have stayed on lapping film. But the joy for me is just like with razors and soaps and brushes and all. It's the variety. It's the different things. It's the different experiences, and honing with the different stones, trying different techniques and different methods, playing around with everything that I have. That is the joy of all of this for me. And honing really has opened up a big, huge box of goodies for me that I'm really enjoying. So, all right, thank you for joining me. That's a fabulous edge. If you run across Slate and it looks glassy and smooth and all that jazz, in my opinion, if it doesn't cost you a lot of money, give it a shot. That was worth all the time that I spent with edges that weren't quite what they were supposed to be or what I was looking for off of that stone. It was fun to play around with it and find what works. And now that was from a Shobu edge. The next step will be going to an 8K and then coming off of that. I expect I'll have to do a little bit more work on that stone off an 8K. But I think I'm going to get similar results from it. That's wonderful. All right, God bless you. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining me.